The birthday cake glowed with 7 candles in the underground facility's common room. Children laughed, their voices echoing
The
off
anomaly is
titanium
expanding.
walls
We must
that
act
could
now.
withstand
Agreed. Deploy the
a nuclear
stabilizers.
blast.
Stabilizers online, energy
Arya
at
Blackwood
maximum.
watched the flames dance, her dark eyes reflecting the light like her mother's Admiral Catherine Blackwood, who stood in the doorway wearing dress blues instead of combat gear fitness. The facility beneath the Nevada desert had been Arya's home since birth. She knew every corridor, every sealed door, every biometric scanner. She knew the scientists who worked here had families too. That's why they held birthday parties. To remember they were still human. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Kate said, kneeling beside her daughter. Arya closed her eyes. 7 years old today, old enough to know her mother protected Earth, young enough to believe that meant she'd always come home. The candles flickered, then the sirens began. Not a drill. Arya knew the difference. Drills were steady tones. This was a cascade of alarms, each frequency meaning something different. Red lights flooded the corridors. The cake toppled as the table shook. Kate's face transformed. Mother to Admiral in one heartbeat. "Code Red," a voice crackled over speakers. "Incoming hostile fleet detected. All personnel to stations. This is not a drill." The other children screamed. Their parents, all scientists and technicians, grabbed them and ran toward the shelters. Arya stood frozen watching her mother. Kate knelt again fast, gripping Arya's shoulders. "Remember what I taught you?" Arya's voice trembled. "When the sirens sound, you go to the shelter." Kate's hands were steady even as another tremor rocked the facility. "Mrs. Chen will take you. You'll be safe there." "Mommy, what's happening?" Kate looked at her daughter, really looked, memorizing her face like she might never see it again. The emergency lights painted them both in crimson. "What we've prepared for," Kate said quietly. "For 137 years. Today we answer." An explosion somewhere above ground. Dust rained from the ceiling. Admiral Blackwood, Commander Nathaniel Cross, appeared in the doorway, his tactical vest already on. "We need you in the war room now." Kate stood, started to walk away, then turned back. She pulled Arya into a hug so tight it hurt. "I promise I'll come back," Kate whispered into her daughter's hair. "I promise." Then she was running, boots echoing down the corridor, and Mrs. Chen was pulling Arya toward the shelter, and the last thing Arya saw was her mother's silhouette disappearing around a corner toward a war that had been waiting since before she was born. The shelter door sealed with a hiss of hydraulics. Arya pressed her hand against the cold metal. Outside, her mother was already gone. The war room was controlled chaos. Holographic displays filled the air like floating windows into hell. Each one showed something impossible. 500 warships, their designs so alien they looked like sculptures instead of military vessels. Crystalline structures that pulsed with energy. Organic shapes that seemed to breathe. Geometric impossibilities that hurt to look at. They hung at the edge of the solar system, arranged in a formation that spoke of absolute confidence. Kate strode to the command platform, her presence cutting through the noise like a blade. Officers turned, found their calm. She had that effect. 48 years of life, 27 in the military discipline, learned from her father, and strategy from necessity. "Report," she said. Nathaniel Cross pulled up the tactical display. Numbers scrolled faster than human eyes could track. Alien fleet composition, energy signatures, projected trajectories. All of it painted the same picture. 500 warships, Nathaniel said, his voice steady despite what they were facing. 12 different species. Hegemony, Crystalline, Collective, Carinian, Federation, and 9 others. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. What are they saying? Same thing they've been saying for 53 years. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Submit, join their galactic council. Accept our place as a primitive species under their guidance. Kate studied the fleet. Each ship was massive, Amano. Their smallest vessel outmassed Earth's largest aircraft carrier. Their weapons could glass planets. Their shields could deflect nuclear strikes. They'd come to intimidate. They'd come to force humanity to kneel. Dr. Elena Volkov emerged from the Intelligence Center, tablet in hand. The Russian physicist had spent 30 years analyzing every scrap of alien technology that had drifted into human space. She knew their ships better than they did. "Fleet composition matches our projections," Elena said. "Flagship is Hegemony, Fleet Commander Drazen, same commander who subjugated the Outer Rim colonies 20 years ago. He's never lost a first contact engagement." "Until today," Kate said quietly. She touched the locket at her throat. Inside was a photo of Area Age 3 laughing in a park that no longer existed. They'd paved it over to build launch facilities. Everything they'd done, every sacrifice, every secret, for this moment. Status of our forces? Kate asked. Nathaniel pulled up a new display. Kate watched numbers that would make the alien fleet commander weep if he knew, if he suspected, if he'd done his intelligence work properly. But he hadn't. That was humanity's greatest weapon, not the ships, not the technology. The fact that for 137 years, they'd convinced the galaxy they were still primitive. Luna Base reports 200 warships ready for deployment, Nathaniel said. Lagrange Point installations have 300 more. Asteroid belt facilities confirm 400 ships fully armed and operational. Earth orbital platforms have another 500 in holding pattern. Kate did the math. 1,400 warships, nearly 3 times the alien fleet. And they'd only revealed a fraction of their true strength. What about the reserve fleets? Kate asked. Titan Station Mars Orbital and the Oort Cloud installations report an additional 600 vessels standing by. But Admiral, if we deploy everything, we won't need to. Kate studied the alien formation. 12 species, 12 different command structures. They'd never coordinated this many disparate forces before. It made them look strong, it made them vulnerable. Humans had learned that lesson in blood. World War II, Normandy, allied forces from a dozen nations learning to move as one. The aliens were about to get a history lesson. Kate pulled up the communication system, fleet-wide broadcast. Every ship, every station, every installation that had been waiting in silence for this exact moment. Her voice carried across the void. This is Admiral Catherine Blackwood to all units. Status report. The responses came in perfect synchronization. Luna Base, Lagrange Points, Asteroid Belt, Earth Orbit, Mars, Titan, the Oort Cloud, even the installations the alien fleet didn't know existed. The bases carved into the far side of Mercury, the shipyards buried in Jupiter's radiation belts, all reporting ready. Kate felt the weight of it. 137 years of preparation. 53 years since the first diplomatic message from the Galactic Council. Decades of silence while humanity watched, learned, built, prepared. Her father had started this. Dr. David Blackwood, who'd been young when the first alien signals were detected in 1887, who dedicated his life to Project Sentinel, who died 7 years ago testing alien technology in a lab explosion, never knowing if his sacrifice would matter. Kate touched the locket again. Dad, she whispered, we're ready. Nathaniel looked at her. Orders, Admiral. Kate pulled up the tactical display one more time. The alien fleet massive and confident. Earth small and blue and precious. Arya somewhere in a shelter waiting for her mother to come home. We've been silent not from fear, Kate said, but from wisdom. They think silence means weakness. Today, they learn what it really meant. She turned to the communication officer. Open a channel to the alien fleet. Let's say hello. The memory hit Kate without warning. 7 years ago, the laboratory explosion that killed her father. She'd been 41, a captain climbing the ranks when the call came. Emergency at Facility 7, catastrophic containment failure. Casualties unknown. She'd run through quarters that smelled like burning metal and ozone. Found her father in the wreckage, still alive barely. The alien power core he'd been testing had overloaded, vaporized his team, should have killed him instantly. Somehow he'd survived long enough to see her face. Kate, he'd whispered, his hand finding hers. Fingers cold grip. Weak. Did it work? Dad, don't talk. Medics are coming. Did it work? Stronger now, desperate. She had looked at the data displays, still functioning despite the destruction. The power core readings, the energy output curves, everything he'd been trying to prove. Yes, she'd told him, it worked. We can integrate their technology. We can build the ships. David Blackwood had smiled then. Blood on his teeth, burns across his chest, but smiling like a man who just won a war. Good, he'd said. Good. Then the 50 years weren't wasted. Then all of it meant something. His grip had tightened, last burst of strength. Kate, promise me, finish it. Finish what we started. I promise, Dad. And when they come, when they finally come, you show them what silence really meant. He died holding her hand. 14 other scientists died with him that day. All of them knowing the risks. All of them choosing the work anyway. For Earth, for humanity, for children like Arya who deserved a future among the stars. Kate stood in the war room wearing Admiral's stars her father never lived to see, commanding a fleet he'd never known was possible. We're ready, Dad, she said again, quieter. We're finally ready. Nathaniel pretended not to hear. Good officer, loyal friend. The alien fleet was 4 hours from Earth now. Time to stop hiding. Fleet Commander Drazen stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, watching the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. Earth, Sol 3, home to 8 billion primitive mammals who'd ignored galactic civilization for 53 years. His four eyes narrowed in contempt. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency around him. Hegemony officers at tactical stations. Crystalline collective navigators managing the jump coordinates. Corinian communication specialists handling the fleet-wide network. 12 species, 500 ships working in imperfect harmony. It was enough. More than enough for this. Status report. Drowsen commanded, his voice carrying the weight of 20 years commanding first contact operations. His tactical officer, a young hegemony named Vex, consulted his displays. Fleet maintaining formation. All vessels report weapons and shields at optimal levels. Scanning Earth's orbital space now. The display updated. Satellites, primitive space stations, small rockets ferrying supplies between surface and orbit. Everything exactly as their intelligence predicted. Drazen had read the reports. Humanity had nuclear fission, chemical rockets, basic orbital mechanics. They were approximately where the hegemony had been 3,000 years ago. Amusing, really, that they thought they could ignore the Galactic Council. Any response to our communications? Drazen asked. Negative, Commander. 53 years of diplomatic messages. 0 responses received. Ambassador Chiron's hologram materialized beside Drazen. The old hegemony's four eyes showed satisfaction. He'd been advocating for military action against Earth for a decade. Perhaps now they'll understand the futility of defiance, Chiron said. 500 warships, 12 civilizations united. Even primitives can count. Drazen nodded. We'll disable their orbital infrastructure first, demonstrate our capabilities. Then they'll have no choice but to negotiate. And if they resist, with what? Drazen gestured at the tactical display showing Earth's pathetic orbital presence. Chemical explosives, kinetic projectiles. Their most advanced weapon is 3,000 years obsolete. The Corinian liaison, a serpentine creature named Vess, slithered closer. Her scales rippled with uncertainty. Commander, our psychological profiles suggest humans respond poorly to threats. They have a history of irrational resistance, even when facing superior force. Drazen had read those profiles too. Human history was a blood-soaked nightmare of constant warfare. They'd fought each other with sticks and stones, then bronze and steel, then guns and bombs. Never united, always divided. A species so fragmented they couldn't even agree on basic governance. Pathetic. Then they'll learn, Drazen said. One way or another. He studied the blue planet. Pretty thing, really. Good atmospheric composition, adequate water coverage, decent biodiversity. It would make a fine addition to the Galactic Council. Once they'd learned their place. Sensor anomalies detected. Vex called out suddenly. Drazen turned. Explain. Brief energy signatures at the edge of our detection range. They appeared for 0.7 seconds, then vanished completely. Location. Multiple locations, here, here, and here. Vex highlighted positions scattered around the fleet's perimeter. Drazen frowned. His second set of eyes focused on the display, while his primary set watched Vex. Could they be ships? Impossible, Commander. No known technology can track vessels in real space without being detected. And the energy signatures don't match any civilization in our databases. Then what are they? Vex consulted his instruments. Unknown. Possibly natural phenomena. Solar radiation can create unusual readings in this system's particular stellar environment. Drazen considered. They were still 3 hours from Earth. Plenty of time for proper reconnaissance. Keep scanning. I want to know if those readings appear again. Yes, Commander. But the readings didn't appear again. The space around them fell quiet. Just 500 warships approaching a primitive world, following a plan that had worked 1,000 times before. Drazen settled into his command chair. 3 hours until they reached Earth. 3 hours until humanity learned that silence was no longer an option. He allowed himself a small smile. This would be the easiest first contact operation of his career. 2 hours from Earth, the alien fleet had crossed the orbit of Mars. Past the asteroid belt without noticing the installations hidden there, camouflaged as simple mining operations. Their sensors swept space, finding nothing but rocks and radiation, finding exactly what humanity wanted them to find. In the war room beneath Nevada, Kate watched their approach with the patience of someone who'd spent 7 years planning this moment, since her father's death, since she'd made him a promise. Luna Base confirms ready status, Nathaniel reported. All ships are in position, camouflage systems holding at 99.7% effectiveness. Kate nodded. The camouflage was beautiful in its simplicity. Not force fields or exotic matter, just good old-fashioned engineering combined with alien technology they'd reverse-engineered and improved. The moon's far side had been transformed over 40 years, carved out, rebuilt, turned into the largest shipyard in human history. Every crater was a hangar. Every mountain concealed weapons. Every valley hid enough firepower to crack a planet, and the alien fleet's sensors showed nothing but ancient rock. How close before we reveal? Nathaniel asked. Kate studied the tactical display. Timing was everything. Too soon and the aliens might retreat. Too late and they might fire on Earth first. She needed them committed, confident, close enough to see exactly what humanity had become. Wait until they're 1 hour from Earth, Kate said. Then we show them the moon. Elena Volkov appeared beside her, concern creasing her face. Kate, we're detecting increased chatter among the alien fleet. Multiple species arguing about tactical approach. They're not as unified as they appear. Good bang, Kate said. 12 different command structures, 12 different cultures, 12 different ways of thinking about warfare. She pulled up historical files. Images from 75 years ago. D-Day. Allied forces from half a dozen nations learning to coordinate under fire. The confusion, the miscommunication, the friendly fire incidents. It had worked eventually. But the first hours had been chaos. The aliens were about to experience that chaos, except their enemy wouldn't be confused. Their enemy had spent 137 years preparing to move as one. Status on Earth's evacuation protocols? Kate asked. Nathaniel consulted his tablet. Major cities have activated emergency shelters. Civilian population is 92% secured in hardened facilities. The remaining 8% are emergency services, personnel maintaining critical infrastructure. Kate thought of Arya safe in the shelter. Safe as anyone could be when 500 warships hung in your sky. And our casualty projections? Nathaniel's face went carefully neutral. If the aliens fire on Earth directly, even with our defensive systems, we're looking at estimated civilian casualties in the hundreds of thousands. Kate closed her eyes, breathed, opened them again. Then we make sure they never get that chance. She turned to the communication officer. Prepare fleet-wide broadcast. Encryption protocol Sentinel-1. Every ship, every station, every installation. The officer's hands moved across holographic controls. Channel open, Admiral. Kate stood straighter, conscious that thousands of officers were watching her on their displays. Conscious that what she said next would echo through history. This is Admiral Catherine Blackwood to all Sentinel forces. The alien fleet is 1 hour from Earth. 1 hour from our homes, our families, our children. She paused, letting that sink in. For 137 years, we've prepared for this moment. Since 1887, when Professor Hartley detected the first alien signal. Since 1969, when Project Sentinel began. Since every year, every day, every hour that we chose silence over submission. Across the solar system on ships and stations, humanity had built in secret crews listened. They think silence means weakness. They think it means fear. They're about to learn what it really meant. Kate pulled up the tactical display, sharing it across every screen. It meant preparation. It meant patience. It meant wisdom. She let her voice drop harder now, cold as the void. When they arrive, we don't destroy them. We show them restraint. We show them mercy. We show them what humanity really is. Nathaniel watched her understanding dawning. Not conquerors, Kate said. Not victims, equals. She stood in the war room her father had designed, wearing stars he'd never seen, commanding a fleet he'd died to build. All ships on my command. Wait for them to see. Wait for them to understand. Then we say hello. The display showed Earth small and blue and precious. Showed the moon ancient and scarred and secretly transformed. Showed 500 alien warships approaching, confident in their superiority. Showed what they couldn't see yet. The 2,000 human vessels waiting in perfect silence. Waiting for one word from one woman who'd promised her father she'd finish what he started. Kate touched her locket, thought of Arya, thought of David. Thought of every person who'd died in labs and test flights and secret installations so that humanity could have this chance. 45 minutes, Nathaniel said quietly. Kate nodded. 45 minutes until the largest fleet in galactic history discovered they'd walked into a trap. 45 minutes until silence ended. 45 minutes until Earth answered. The moon hung in space like it always had, gray cratered ancient. The alien fleet's sensors swept across it, finding exactly what they expected. Rock, regolith, ancient impact sites. A few small research stations on the near side barely visible. Nothing threatening, nothing important. Their sensors lied. Deep inside the moon in caverns carved by human hands and alien-derived mining lasers, Kate stood on the bridge of the UESS Defiance, her flagship, the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. Around her, the command crew worked in focused silence, tactical officers monitoring alien fleet movements, communications specialists maintaining quantum encrypted links with every human vessel, navigation plotting trajectories that would bring 200 ships from lunar orbit to combat positions in under 30 seconds. Alien fleet entering lunar orbit, her tactical officer reported. 20 minutes until Earth engagement range. Kate watched the tactical display. The alien ships were beautiful in their way, elegant, artistic, designed by species who'd had thousands of years to perfect their craft. Humanity's ships were different, brutal, efficient, designed by people who'd spent 137 years learning from every war they'd ever fought. Status on launch sequences, Kate asked. All ships report ready. Hangar doors will deploy in 90 seconds on your command. Kate pulled up the communication feed from the Nevada war room. Nathaniel's face appeared steady despite everything. Admiral Blackwood, you are authorized to deploy on my mark. Kate smiled. She'd transferred operational command to Nathaniel for the ground-based coordination, but Defiance was hers. This moment was hers. Understood, Commander Cross. Defiance is ready. She cut the feed and turned to her crew. Young people, most of them, born after Project Sentinel began, raised knowing Earth wasn't alone, trained from childhood for this exact moment. Crew of the Defiance, Kate said, today we end 137 years of silence. Today we show them who we are. She moved to the captain's chair, the one her father had designed in blueprints he'd never seen built. Not primitives, not victims, not supplicants begging to join their civilization. The tactical display showed alien ships taking position above Earth, weapons charging, preparing to disable human orbital infrastructure as a demonstration of power. They were so confident. We are humanity, Kate said quietly, and we answer. Her hand moved to the deployment control. Launch all ships. The moon opened, not metaphorically, not gradually. The entire lunar surface on the far side split apart like petals on a flower. Massive hangar doors that had taken 40 years to build retracted in perfect synchronization. 200 warships that shouldn't exist rose from caverns that couldn't exist. Defiance led them out. Kate's flagship bristling with weapons derived from 12 different alien technologies and improved beyond recognition. And the alien fleet, confident and proud and certain of their superiority, suddenly found their sensors screaming with impossible contacts. On the Eternal Dominion, Drazen watched his tactical display explode with red. Commander, Vex's voice cracked. Massive energy signatures, multiple contacts emerging from the moon. Drazen stood, his 4 eyes wide. How many? Counting 100 and 200, contacts still emerging. The view screen showed something that couldn't be real. The moon transformed, ships pouring from its surface like water from a broken dam. Ships that matched nothing in the galactic database. Ships that moved with precision that shouldn't be possible. Ships that surrounded his fleet in perfect formation before he could even give an order. And then space itself tore apart. At the Lagrange points, 300 more ships decloaked. In the asteroid belt, 400 vessels dropped their camouflage. In Earth orbit, 500 warships that had been hiding in plain sight as research stations activated their true systems. In less than 30 seconds, Drazen's fleet of 500 found themselves surrounded by 1,400 human warships. His tactical officer was screaming something. His communications specialists were drowning in chatter from a dozen panicked species. His sensors showed impossible readings from ships that shouldn't exist. And Kate's voice, calm and cold, cut through every communication channel. Fleet Commander Drazen, this is Admiral Catherine Blackwood, Earth Defense Command. You are in restricted space. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive diplomatic envoys. Drazen found his voice barely. This is impossible. Your intelligence reports were exactly what we wanted you to see, Kate interrupted. For 53 years, you sent us messages. For 137 years, we watched and learned. Today, we answer. The human ships didn't fire, didn't threaten, just held position, perfect and silent, surrounding the alien fleet like a cage. Kate's voice softened just slightly. We don't want war, Commander. We want respect. Power down your weapons. Let's talk like civilized beings. Drazen looked at his tactical display, at the 500 ships under his command designed to intimidate a primitive world. at the 1,400 ships surrounding them representing technology and coordination that shouldn't be possible. At the blue planet below, no longer helpless, no longer primitive, no longer silent. He thought of his 20 years commanding first contact operations, every species he'd subjugated through superior numbers and overwhelming force. Every primitive civilization that had knelt before galactic might. And he realized with a cold certainty that went deeper than fear that he was the primitive now. All ships, Drazen said, his voice steady through pure will. Power down weapons, disengage shields, diplomatic protocols only. Chiron's hologram flickered with outrage. Commander, you can't seriously arm him, then. We're surrounded, Drazen cut him off. Outgunned and outthought. Stand down. He turned to face the view screen where Earth hung blue and beautiful and no longer defenseless. This is Fleet Commander Drazen to Admiral Blackwood. We accept your terms. Request diplomatic meeting to discuss integration protocols. Kate's voice carried something that might have been respect. Granted, Commander. Coordinates transmitting now. Welcome to Sol System. Sorry about the dramatic entrance. We've been practicing. And despite everything, despite the shock, the fear, the complete reversal of everything he'd expected, Drazen almost laughed. Humans. They'd spent 137 years planning a joke. In the shelter beneath Nevada, Arya pressed her hand against the sealed door and waited for her mother to come home. She couldn't know that above her Earth's sky was filled with human warships. Couldn't know that her mother had just changed galactic history. Couldn't know that silence had finally ended. She was 7 years old and she'd made a wish on birthday candles that morning. That her mother would come back safe. That wish at least was about to come true. The diplomatic vessel hung in space between two fleets. Neutral ground, human designed but built to accommodate a dozen different species. Atmosphere zones for oxygen breathers, methane processors, and those who existed partially as energy. Temperature gradients from freezing to volcanic. Gravity fields adjusted by sector. It was called Harmony. The name was aspirational. Kate stepped through the airlock into a chamber designed for hegemony physiology. Gravity slightly higher than Earth standard. Atmosphere oxygen-rich, but with trace elements that smelled like copper and ozone. Lighting and spectrums her eyes could barely process. Commander Nathaniel Cross flanked her left, Dr. Elena Volkov her right. Behind them, a security detail that looked ceremonial but wasn't. Across the chamber, Fleet Commander Drazen waited. Kate studied him properly for the first time. 7 feet tall, blue skin with geometric patterns that might be tattoos or natural pigmentation. 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Scars across his face from battles she couldn't imagine. He wore command insignia from a civilization that had ruled its sector for 3,000 years. He looked tired. Ambassador Chiron stood beside him, older, angrier. His 4 eyes held contempt that years of diplomacy couldn't fully mask. Admiral Blackwood, Drazen said, his voice translated by systems that turned alien phonetics into English. Your display was impressive. Thank you, Commander. Kate moved to the conference table. Holographic star charts floated above it, showing the solar system and the 2 fleets now holding position. Though I regret the theatrics. We could have revealed ourselves years ago. Why didn't you? Chiron demanded. 53 years of silence. 53 years of ignored diplomatic overtures. Do you understand the insult? Kate met his gaze. I understand you felt insulted. That wasn't our intent. She activated a holographic display. Timeline data scrolled past. 1887, 1947, 1969. Every year between every discovery, every advancement. 137 years ago, we detected your civilization. One man with a telescope in a desert. Professor William Hartley. He spent the rest of his life trying to convince people we weren't alone. The display showed grainy photographs. Old Earth before Project Sentinel. Before everything changed. For decades, we had a choice. Reveal ourselves immediately, join your civilization as primitives. Or wait, learn. Prepare to join as equals. Drazen's primary eyes focused on the timeline. His secondary eyes watched Kate. You spied on us. We gathered intelligence, Elena corrected, stepping forward. We monitored your public broadcasts, analyzed your technology, studied your history. Everything you sent us in diplomatic packages, we used. Every technical specification, every cultural exchange, every piece of information you thought was harmless. She pulled up new data, ship designs, weapon systems, energy cores, all based on alien technology, all improved beyond what their creators achieved. 43 years ago, the Crystalline Collective sent us detailed information about energy matter conversion. Peaceful technology demonstration, they said. We thanked them by ignoring the message. Then we weaponized it. 50 human ships flickered on the holographic display, phasing in and out of normal space, impossible to target, impossible to stop. Chiron's skin darkened. Anger or embarrassment, Kate couldn't tell. 38 years ago, Elena continued, the Carinian Federation transmitted adaptive camouflage specifications. Again, peaceful intent. Again, we took it and made it better. Human ships vanished from sensors, reappeared elsewhere, demonstrated capabilities that made the aliens look primitive. Every gift you sent, Kate said quietly, we used to ensure we'd never need your charity. Silence filled the chamber, the kind that came before storms. Drazen broke it. You have agents in our governments. Your transmission mentioned 47. Kate nodded to Nathaniel. He pulled up files, personnel records, service histories, faces that looked alien but weren't. 47 operatives embedded across 12 civilizations, Nathaniel said, some for as long as 20 years. They provided intelligence, cultural context, early warning. Including aboard my flagship, Drazen said. It wasn't a question. Lieutenant Thomas Rivera, Kate confirmed. He served as communications specialist under the identity of Vorin, a Carinian officer, aboard Eternal Dominion for 5 years. He reported his performance evaluations were excellent. Drazen's face showed something that might be pain. I trusted him. He never betrayed that trust, Kate said. He followed your orders, completed his duties, served with honor. He just reported to us while doing it. That's betrayal by definition. That's survival by necessity. Kate leaned forward. Commander, you brought 500 warships to intimidate us into submission. We gathered intelligence to ensure we'd never be submitted. Which of us violated trust first? The question hung there. Chiron shifted. You think you've won. You surround our fleet, demonstrate superior numbers, and expect us to simply accept your terms. No, Kate said. I expect you to understand we're not your enemies. We're your equals. We're ready to join your Galactic Council, not as primitives, as partners. She pulled up a document. Terms of integration, fair, reasonable, asking for nothing but respect. Full membership, equal representation, technology sharing on mutual terms. No probationary period, no gradual integration. We've spent 137 years preparing. We're ready now. Drazen studied the terms. His expression was unreadable. And if we refuse, Kate's voice went cold, then we operate independently, outside your framework, unbound by your laws or traditions. We'll continue expanding, continue watching, continue existing as a power you can't control. She let that sink in. Or you can accept us as allies, benefit from our innovations, add our strength to yours, build something better together. The choice was simple. The implications were anything but. Drazen looked at Chiron. Something passed between them. Generations of hegemony pride weighing against reality. I need to consult with the Galactic Council, Drazen said finally. This is beyond my authority to decide. Of course, Kate stood. We'll wait. We've gotten good at waiting. She turned to leave, stopped. Commander, one more thing. We don't want war, but we're prepared for it. Every scenario, every possibility, for 137 years. Drazen met her eyes. I believe you, he said quietly. The War Room received the report at 14:47 hours Earth Standard Time. Admiral, we have a situation. Kate looked up from the integration documents. Nathaniel's face was pale. The Crystalline Collective frigate Radiant Dawn has broken formation. It's accelerating toward Earth. Kate was moving before he finished the sentence. Battle stations. Track that ship. Weapons hot, but do not fire without my authorization. The tactical display lit up. One alien vessel, Soitus, smaller than most, breaking from the fleet at maximum acceleration. Its weapons were charging. Its shields were up. Hail them, Kate ordered. Static. The crystalline ship didn't respond. Commander Drazen is broadcasting to all ships ordering the Radiant Dawn to stand down. They're not complying. Kate felt ice in her chest. One hardliner. One commander who thought they could salvage hegemony pride through violence. Project their course. The computer calculated. The answer made her blood cold. Medical ship, sanctuary, Earth orbit. 200 wounded personnel aboard from various construction accidents. No weapons, minimal shields. The sanctuary, named for what it represented, hoped that humanity wouldn't need warships forever, that someday the fleet would be obsolete. That peace was possible. It was unarmed by design. A statement, and a crystalline frigate was about to destroy it. "Get me Captain Thorne," Kate said. Captain Elias Thorne appeared on screen immediately. 51 years old, gray at the temples, eyes that had seen 3 wars and hoped never to see another. He commanded the UESS Guardian, a destroyer positioned near Earth. "Admiral, I'm tracking the Radiant Dawn. I can intercept." "Do it. Disable if possible. Destroy if necessary. But keep that ship away from Sanctuary." Elias nodded. No hesitation. No fear. "Understood. Guardian is moving to intercept." Kate watched the tactical display. 2 ships on converging courses. The crystalline frigate faster, more maneuverable. The Guardian heavier, more powerful. The numbers didn't favor Elias. "Admiral," Nathaniel said quietly, "Guardian can't reach intercept position before Radiant Dawn enters firing range of Sanctuary." Kate knew. She'd run the calculations the instant she saw the trajectories. Elias knew too. "Admiral Blackwood," his voice came through calm despite everything, "I'm going to need to do something creative here." Kate understood what he meant, what he was offering. "Elias, wait for backup. Defiance can be there in. Sanctuary has 200 wounded. Guardian has a crew of 73. The math is simple." On the tactical display, Guardian changed course, not to intercept, to shield, positioning itself directly between the crystalline frigate and the medical ship. Kate's hand found the edge of the console, gripped until her knuckles went white. "Captain Thorne, I'm ordering you to wait for support." "Respectfully, Admiral, there's no time." Elias's face filled the screen. He was smiling. "Besides, Guardian was built for this. Taking hits so others don't have to. We're good at it." Kate thought of his personnel file. 2 daughters, Sarah 10, Emma 8. Both in a shelter in Colorado, safe because people like their father stood between them and harm. The medical ship was named for Emma. Was medical ship Emma's Hope, named after Captain Thorne's younger daughter. He'd requested it when the ship was commissioned 2 years ago. A promise that she'd grow up in a world that valued healing over hurting. Now he was going to die protecting it. The Radiant Dawn opened fire. Energy beams that could crack asteroids. Plasma torpedoes designed to burn through planetary defenses. All of it focused on one human destroyer that had put itself in harm's way. Guardian's shields flared, held, started to fail. "All power to forward shields," Elias ordered his crew. "Redirect from engines, weapons, life support if necessary. We just need to hold until..." The second salvo hit harder. Guardian's shields collapsed. Energy beams tore through armor that had taken 2 years to forge. Plasma melted titanium ceramic composites like they were paper. "Guardian, report," Kate was shouting now. Elias's face flickered on the screen. Smoke behind him, sparks from failing systems. Blood on his forehead. "Shields gone. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Engineering is... We've lost engineering." Another hit. The ship shuddered. "Captain, evacuate your crew. Get them to escape pods." "Negative, Admiral." Elias looked off screen at something Kate couldn't see. His crew. His people. "If we abandon ship, our trajectory changes. Emma's Hope becomes exposed." He looked back at her. "We're going to hold position. We're going to keep that medical ship safe. That's the mission." "Elias, Admiral, I have 2 daughters. Sarah is 10, Emma is 8. He smiled, blood on his teeth. "They're in a shelter in Colorado right now. Safe because people like my crew stood between them and harm." Guardian took another hit. Critical systems failing. "Today, 200 wounded are safe because we did the same. That's worth it. That's worth everything." The tactical display showed Defiance arriving, other ships converging. Help was coming. 10 seconds too late. The Radiant Dawn's final salvo hit Guardian's reactor core. The explosion was brief, brilliant, the kind of light that could be seen from Earth's surface. 73 crew members, 73 names, 73 families who would receive flags and medals and condolences that meant nothing. Captain Elias Thorne, 51 years old, veteran of the Titan colony mission, father of 2, gone. Behind Guardian's expanding debris field, medical ship Emma's Hope floated unharmed. 200 wounded safe, alive because 73 others weren't. In the war room, Kate stood frozen. The tactical display showed Defiance and 4 other ships surrounding the Radiant Dawn. The crystalline frigate, its weapons depleted, tried to run. It didn't make it far. "Admiral," Nathaniel's voice was rough. "The Radiant Dawn is disabled. Its crew is requesting quarter." Kate couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "Admiral, what are your orders?" She found her voice. It didn't sound like hers. "Take them prisoner. No casualties. I want them alive to stand trial. Understood. Kate walked to the viewport, looked at Earth small and blue, and purchased with blood. Get me a list, she said quietly. Everyone on Guardian. Full names, service records, next of kin. Admiral, now. Nathaniel pulled up the files. 73 faces appeared on the screen, young and old. Men and women, every ethnicity, every background. United by one thing. They'd stood between harm and the helpless. Kate touched the screen where Elias's face smiled, unaware he had minutes left to live when that photo was taken. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. But sorry wouldn't bring them back. Nothing would. They held the memorial service. 4 hours later, Kate had wanted to wait, to do it properly. But the crew needed it now. Needed to grieve while the shock was fresh before numbness set in. The Defiance's main hangar bay was packed. 500 personnel standing at attention. Every flag at half-mast. 73 photos floating in holographic display, each face frozen in better times. Kate stood at the podium in full dress uniform. She'd changed from combat gear. Put on the Admiral's stars her father never lived to see. Medals she'd earned in wars that were supposed to be the last ones. She'd been wrong about that. Captain Elias Thorne, she began, her voice carrying across the silent bay. 51 years old, Apinita, joined Earth Defense Force at 23, served in the Titan Colony escort mission, commanded Guardian for 7 years, decorated for valor 3 times. She paused, looked at his photo. He was laughing in it at some joke lost to time. He was also a father, Sarah age 10, Emma age 8. He talked about them constantly. Bored us all with stories about school plays and soccer games, and the time Emma convinced him aliens were friendly because they sent us nice messages. A few people smiled, remembered. Elias died protecting 200 wounded personnel who couldn't protect themselves. The medical ship was named Emma's Hope, named after his younger daughter. 2 years ago, when the ship was commissioned, Elias requested that name. He said Emma deserved to grow up in a galaxy that chose healing over hurting. Me on Kate's voice caught. She pushed through. Today he made sure she could. He had seconds to decide, stay and die or retreat and live. He chose death. He chose it instantly, without hesitation. She continued reading names. 73 lives, 73 families, 73 futures ended, so others could continue. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Washington, 43 years old, Guardian's executive officer, mother of 3. She could have ordered evacuation. She stood with her captain instead. Another photo, another face that would never age. Ensign Marcus Hayes, 22 years old, fresh from academy, first combat deployment. His parents are watching this from Houston. He died at his post in engineering, keeping the shields up 30 seconds longer. When she finished reading all 73 names, silence held the bay like a physical presence. We honored them by not retaliating, Kate said finally. The crystalline ship that killed them has disabled its crew imprisoned. We could have destroyed them. Every rule of war, every ounce of rage we feel says we should have. She looked out at faces wet with tears. But Captain Thorne didn't die so we could become murderers. He died protecting the helpless. He died showing restraint even when violence was easy. He died proving that strength isn't about weapons. It's about what you're willing to die for. She stepped back from the podium, saluted the photos. Every person in the bay saluted with her. The moment held, stretched, sacred. Then the PA system crackled. Admiral Blackwood, priority communication from Earth. It's your daughter. Kate's heart stopped. Route it to my ready room. Everyone else dismissed. Honor the fallen by living well. She walked through corridors that felt too long, too empty, reached her ready room and activated the screen. Arya's face appeared. 7 years old, tear-streaked, small. Mommy, Kate sat down heavily. Hey, sweetheart, you okay? Mrs. Chen said people died, that bad aliens attacked. Are you hurt? No, baby, I'm not hurt. But people died. Hey! Kate couldn't lie to her, wouldn't. Yes, very brave people. They saved others. Arya was quiet for a moment. Then, are you going to kill the bad aliens? Kate looked at her daughter, 7 years old, the age where the world should be, simple, safe, full of birthday cakes and laughter. No, honey, we're not. Why not? They killed our people. Because, Kate struggled for words, because becoming like them doesn't honor the people who died. It dishonors them. She thought of Elias, of his daughters same age as Arya who would grow up without their father. The people who died today were heroes, Arya. They protected others even when it meant they couldn't protect themselves. We honor them by being like them. By being better than the people who hurt us. Arya nodded slowly. Not understanding, not really, but trusting. When are you coming home? Soon, baby. Very soon. Promise. Kate touched the screen where Arya's small hand pressed against it. I promise. The connection ended. Kate sat alone in her ready room, surrounded by the weight of 73 deaths and the promise she'd made to one small girl. Outside, the war wasn't over. 18 hours after Guardian's destruction, the situation deteriorated. 50 ships from the alien fleet, hardliners from 6 different species, broke formation. They'd been arguing among themselves, Kate's intelligence reported. Factions forming. The moderates wanted negotiation. The hardliners wanted blood. The hardliners won. Admiral, we have multiple ships accelerating toward Earth. Weapons hot. They're targeting population centers. Kate studied the tactical display. 50 ships. Not enough to destroy Earth, but enough to kill millions. All ships intercept courses. Protect civilian centers. Rules of engagement: disable if possible, destroy if necessary. But I want those cities intact. The fleet moved. 1,400 human warships against 50 alien vessels. The math was overwhelming, but the aliens were desperate. Desperate enemies were dangerous. Above Paris, 3 Corinian frigates broke through the defensive screen, their weapons charged targeting the city center. 3 million people. The UESS Valiant intercepted, traded fire, won but took heavy damage. Reactor breach killed 37 crew. Above Tokyo, a hegemony cruiser made it through. Fired on the city. Human point defense shot down most of the ordnance. Most. 1 plasma torpedo got through. Shinjuku district. 70,000 casualties in the initial blast. Fires spreading. Above New York, Mumbai, Cairo, Sao Paulo. The same story repeated. Human ships throwing themselves between hardliners and civilians. Winning most engagements. Losing some. The casualties mounted. In the war room, Kate watched cities burn and made decisions that would haunt her forever. Redirect 3rd Fleet to Mumbai. Accept losses in Cairo if necessary. Population density prioritization. Numbers on a screen, strategic calculations, people dying while she chose which ones to save. By the time the last hardliner ship was disabled, 12 more human vessels were destroyed. Another 240 personnel dead. And on Earth, fires burned in 6 cities. Casualty estimates climbing past 200,000. Nathaniel approached her, his face gray. Admiral, we have the hardliner ships disabled. They're drifting. Life support failing. They're requesting rescue. Kate looked at the tactical display. 50 ships, crews of 30 to 50 each, maybe 2,000 aliens total. They'd killed 313 human crew, 200,000 civilians, tried to burn Earth's cities. They were helpless now. Dying. How long until their life support fails completely? Kate asked. 14 hours, give or take. 14 hours to decide. Save them or let them die. Justice or mercy. Revenge or restraint. Kate closed her eyes, thought of Elias, of Guardian's crew, of 73 names read at a memorial service hours ago, of Sarah and Emma Thorne who would never see their father again, of Arya asking why they wouldn't kill the bad aliens. She opened her eyes. Admiral, Nathaniel prompted. Kate walked to the viewport, looked at Earth scarred, now burning in places but alive. Get me a fleet-wide channel, she said quietly. Every ship, every station, every installation, all of them connected to her voice. This is Admiral Blackwood to all forces. Kate stood alone in the war room, backlit by tactical displays showing damaged ships and burning cities. 12 hours ago, Captain Elias Thorne and 73 crew members died protecting medical ship Emma's Hope. 6 hours ago, 240 more personnel died protecting Earth's cities. On the ground, casualty estimates exceed 200,000. She paused, let the numbers sink in. The enemy ships responsible are now disabled, drifting, life support failing. In 14 hours, they'll all be dead. Across the fleet, crews listened, some hoping for revenge, some dreading it. We could let them die. Every rule of war says we'd be justified. They attacked first, killed our people, burned our cities. We didn't start this. They did. Kate's hands gripped the edge of the console. We could destroy them ourselves. Faster, cleaner, send a message to the galaxy that humanity doesn't forgive, doesn't forget. Her voice dropped, harder, colder. We could watch them suffocate in the dark and call it justice. 2 seconds of silence, the kind that felt eternal. Then, but that's not who we are. The words hung in the air. Captain Thorne didn't die so we could become killers. He died protecting the helpless. Today, those aliens are helpless. They're beaten, dying, no threat to anyone. Kate looked at the camera knowing thousands of eyes were watching. If we let them die, we become what we fought against. If we kill them, we dishonor everyone who died protecting others instead of destroying them. She straightened. Admiral's voice now. Command authority. All ships deploy rescue teams, save their crews, bring them in as prisoners. They'll face trial for their crimes, but they'll live to face it. Silence on the channel. Then Nathaniel spoke from Earth. Admiral, with respect, they killed our people. I know. They tried to burn our cities. I know. Why show them mercy? Kate turned to face the camera. Because that's what makes us different. That's what makes us better. She activated a historical display. Old footage, 75 years old, images of post-war reconstruction. After World War II, America had the power to destroy our enemies completely. Germany was rubble. Japan was ashes. We could have salted the earth and called it justice. The images shifted. The Marshall Plan, rebuilding, former enemies becoming allies. Instead, we rebuilt them, helped them, turned enemies into partners. Today, Germany and Japan are our allies, our friends. Kate looked directly into the camera. That's the choice we make today. Revenge or reconciliation. Destruction or mercy. She thought of Arya, of every child watching this moment learning what humanity meant. We choose mercy, not because they deserve it, because we do, because our children deserve to grow up in a galaxy where strength means protecting the weak, not punishing the defeated. Another pause. Then softer. Captain Thorne's daughters are watching this somewhere, Sarah and Emma. I want them to see their father died for something that mattered, that his sacrifice meant we became better, not worse. Kate stood straighter. All ships execute rescue operations. That's an order. The channel went silent. Then one by one confirmations came in. Defiance acknowledging, deploying rescue teams. Valiant confirms, moving to assist. Liberty acknowledging, rescue operations commencing. Across the fleet, ships that had lost crew members moved to save the aliens who'd killed them. It was the hardest thing they had ever done. It was the most human thing they had ever done. In the diplomatic vessel, Harmony Fleet Commander Drazen watched the human rescue operations on his displays. Watched human ships extend docking tubes to disabled alien vessels. Watched human medics treat alien wounded. Watched enemies save each other. Kieran stood beside him, silent for once. They could have killed us all, Drazen said quietly. Right now, they still could. Why don't they, Kieran asked. Drazen thought of 20 years commanding first contact operations. Of species subjugated through superior force. Of civilizations brought low because they couldn't match hegemony might. Of humanity surrounded and outgunned, choosing mercy when vengeance was easier. Because, Drazen said slowly, they're not like us. He watched a human rescue team pull a Corinian officer from a failing ship. Watched them administer medical aid to someone who tried to kill them hours ago. They're better than us. Kieran's expression shifted, anger fading into something that might be shame. Drazen pulled up a communication channel, requested connection to Admiral Blackwood. Kate's face appeared on screen, tired, grieving, but steady. Commander Drazen. Admiral, Drazen straightened. I'm watching your rescue operations. Your restraint after everything. Kate nodded. I want you to know, Drazen continued, that I've served the hegemony for 30 years. I've brought 12 species into the Galactic Council through force, through threat, through making them understand they had no choice. He paused. I've never seen anything like what you're doing. I've never seen an enemy show mercy to those who tried to destroy them. Kate's expression didn't change. We're not your enemies, Commander. No, Drazen agreed. You're not, which is why I'm requesting permission to address the Galactic Council on your behalf, to testify to your restraint, your honor, he struggled for the word, your humanity. Kate looked at him for a long moment. Thank you, Commander. That means more than you know. It's deserved. Drazen glanced at Kieran. More than deserved. The connection ended. Kieran spoke quietly. You're supporting them. After everything. After everything, they earned it. Drazen looked at his old friend. We came here to teach them their place. They taught us ours. He pulled up the integration documents Kate had presented. Send these to the Galactic Council. Recommend full approval. Humanity joins as equals. No restrictions. No probation. They humiliated us. No, Drazen said. They educated us. There's a difference. Outside the viewport, human ships continued their rescue operations, saving aliens who tried to kill them, proving that strength wasn't about weapons, it was about what you chose not to use. Nexus Prime Station hung at the edge of inhabited space, a monument to galactic cooperation built 3,000 years before Earth discovered fire. Its central amphitheater could hold representatives from 10,000 civilizations each in customized environmental zones. Aquatic beings in pressure chambers, radiation feeders in shielded sectors, energy constructs in magnetic containment, and now, for the first time in galactic history, humans. Kate walked through corridors that had witnessed the rise and fall of empires. Nathaniel and Elena flanked her, behind them an honor guard wearing dress uniforms that had been designed in secret, never expecting to be displayed before the galaxy. Ambassador Chiron met them at the entrance to the Great Assembly. His four eyes held something Kate hadn't seen before. Not contempt, not anger. Something closer to respect, though it clearly pained him. Admiral Blackwood, the Council is ready to hear Earth's petition. Thank you, Ambassador. Chiron hesitated. Then, what you did. Saving our hardliners after they attacked your cities, after they killed your people. I've served the hegemony for 40 years. I've never seen anything like it. Kate met his gaze. We had a choice, Ambassador. Become like our enemies or prove we were different. There was only one choice worth making. Also, Chiron nodded slowly. The galaxy is watching. What you say today will echo for generations. Then let's make sure it's worth hearing. The amphitheater doors opened. 10,000 civilizations. More beings than Kate could comprehend in forms that defied description. The Peaceful Gardens Collective, resembling crystalline trees that sang in harmonics. The Machine Intelligence Network, pure consciousness housed in quantum processors. The Ancient One's energy, beings who'd achieved sentience when Earth was still cooling from its formation. All of them watching as one human woman walked to the central platform. High Counselor Morena materialized above the assembly, pure energy given shape and voice, ancient beyond measure. We convene to address the petition of the species calling themselves humanity. Admiral Catherine Blackwood will present their case. Kate stepped forward, alone, no notes, no displays. Just one woman who'd spent 7 years carrying her father's legacy and 313 deaths on her conscience. She began. Honored counselors, representatives of 10,000 worlds, I am Catherine Blackwood. I speak for 8 billion humans of Earth. Her voice carried across the amphitheater, translated into 1,000 languages simultaneously. 137 years ago, we heard you. One man in a desert with a telescope he built himself. Professor William Hartley. He detected artificial signals from the direction of your civilizations. A hologram appeared. Grainy photograph, 1887. An old man with a telescope notebook filled with calculations. He spent the rest of his life trying to convince people we weren't alone. Most thought he was mad, but he was right. The image shifted. Timeline data, 1887 to 2025. Every detection, every discovery, every advancement. We had a choice then. Reveal ourselves immediately, join your civilization as primitives, grateful for your guidance. Or wait, learn. Prepare to join as equals. Kate's hands rested on the podium, steady despite everything. We chose patience over pride, silence over submission. For 137 years we watched you, learned from you, prepared to meet you on equal terms. Murmurs rippled through the assembly, some species offended, others intrigued. You sent us diplomatic messages, mathematical proofs, cultural exchanges, technology demonstrations. Every transmission was an education. Every gift was intelligence we used to ensure we'd never be at your mercy. The hologram showed human ships, technology derived from alien designs, but improved, refined, perfected. 43 years ago, the Crystalline Collective sent us energy matter conversion specifications. Peaceful technology, they said. We thanked them with silence, then weaponized it. Wicked crystalline representatives shifted their forms, pulsing with what might be embarrassment. 38 years ago, the Carinian Federation transmitted adaptive camouflage designs. Again, peaceful intent. Again, we took it further than you thought possible. Kate pulled up casualty reports, the numbers that haunted her sleep. But preparation has costs. 1,247 people died developing the technology we needed. Lab accidents, test flight failures, deep cover operations that went wrong. Faces appeared, scientists, engineers, pilots, spicabas, all dead so humanity could survive. My father was one of them, Dr. David Blackwood. He died 7 years ago testing an alien power core. His last words were asking if his sacrifice mattered, if the years he'd spent preparing humanity meant something. Kate's voice caught. She pushed through. 3 weeks ago, you sent 500 warships to force us into submission. We surrounded you with 1,400. We could have destroyed your fleet. We chose restraint. The hologram showed the confrontation. Human ships surrounding alien vessels. Power on display but unused. Then hardliners attacked Earth, killed 313 of our personnel, tried to burn our cities, succeeded in some. 200,000 civilians died. Images of burning cities. Tokyo, Paris, Cairo, New York. Numbers that translated to families destroyed, lives ended, futures stolen. Captain Elias Thorne and 72 crew members died protecting medical ship Emma's Hope, named after his daughter. He positioned his ship between the enemy and the helpless. He had seconds to choose. He chose sacrifice. The image shifted to Elias's photo, smiling, alive, gone. We disabled the hardliner ships, left them drifting, dying. We could have finished them. Every rule of war said we should have. Kate looked up at the assembled representatives. We saved them instead, sent rescue teams, provided medical aid, took them as prisoners to stand trial, not corpses to bury. Silence held the amphitheater. Why? Kate asked the question she knew they were thinking. Why show mercy to enemies who showed us none? She pulled up historical footage, old Earth, images from 75 years past. After our Second World War, America had the power to destroy our enemies completely. Germany and Japan were beaten, burned, broken. We could have salted the earth and called it justice. The images shifted. Reconstruction, the Marshall Plan, former enemies rebuilding together. Instead, we helped them rebuild, turned enemies into allies. Today, those nations are our closest partners. That's the choice we made then. That's the choice we make now. Kate's voice strengthened. We seek membership in your Galactic Council, not as supplicants grateful for acceptance. As equals who've earned their place, we offer our strength, our innovation, our determination to protect the weak instead of dominating them. She stepped back from the podium. We're ready to join you. The question is whether you're ready for us. The amphitheater erupted. Debates in 1,000 languages. Species arguing, calculating, weighing the implications of accepting humanity on equal terms. High Counselor Morena called for order. The Council will hear testimony. Fleet Commander Drazen, you engage these humans militarily. Present your assessment. Drazen rose from the hegemony delegation, walked to the platform, stood where Kate had stood. His four eyes scanned the assembly. I came to Sol's system expecting an easy victory. 500 ships against primitives with chemical rockets. I expected to subjugate them within hours, add another species to our council, as grateful members who understood their place. He paused. I found worthy opponents instead, better than opponents. I found teachers. Shock rippled through the assembly. Hegemony commanders didn't admit being taught by anyone. Admiral Blackwood could have destroyed my fleet. She chose a negotiation. When hardliners attacked, she could have retaliated with overwhelming force. She chose restraint. When our people lay dying in disabled ships, she could have let them die. She saved them. Drazen's voice carried conviction born of experience. I've commanded first contact operations for 20 years. I've subjugated 12 species through superior force. I've never seen anything like humanity's discipline, their mercy, their strength that chooses not to destroy even when destruction is justified. He looked at Kate standing with her delegation. If humanity had wanted conquest, we wouldn't be having this debate. They would already rule this sector. Instead, they want partnership. They've earned it, more than earned it. Drazen turned back to the council. I vote for their admission, not because I fear them, though I do, because I respect them, because the galaxy needs what they represent. He stepped down. Testimony continued. Species after species weighing in, some supported, some opposed. Arguments about precedent, procedure, the disruption humanity represented. The peaceful gardens, collective rose. Their representative ancient, beyond measure, spoken harmonics that translated to words. We initially abstained, feared what humanity's strength might mean, feared militarization of our peaceful galaxy. The crystalline being's form shifted colors. But we have witnessed something more important than strength. We have witnessed restraint, mercy, the choice to save enemies instead of destroying them. That is the civilization we want as our neighbor. Another vote changed. Finally, High Counselor Morena spoke. The council will vote. all in favor of Earth's admission under proposed terms. Kate stood perfectly still, breathing controlled, heart hammering. The voting display activated. Lights across the amphitheater, representing civilizations making their choice. Numbers climbed. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Kate's hand found the locket at her throat. Arya's photo inside. 7 years old, waiting in a shelter, trusting her mother to come home. 4,000, 4,500. They needed 50% of active members. 5,250 votes from 10,000 civilizations. 5,000, 5,100. The count slowed. Civilizations abstaining, unable to decide. 5,245, 5,246, 5,247, 5,248, 5,249. One vote short. Kate's breath caught. The display held, frozen. One vote between acceptance and rejection, between humanity joining the stars and standing alone. Then one final light changed. A small species Kate didn't recognize. Their representative stood. We are young, recently contacted ourselves. We remember fear, uncertainty. The Galactic Council welcomed us, gave us time to grow. The being's voice was soft. Humanity didn't ask for time. They took it, earned their place through discipline we can only aspire to. They deserve what we were given. Welcome, 5,250. Motion passes, High Counselor Marina announced. Humanity is admitted to the Galactic Council with full membership rights and responsibilities. The amphitheater erupted, some cheering, some protesting, all of them understanding that everything had just changed. Kate stood frozen. 7 years carrying this weight. 137 years of human preparation. 1,306 deaths, and it came down to one vote. Nathaniel grabbed her arm. We did it. Kate, we did it. Elena was crying, Bogdan. Professional controlled Elena Volkov, tears streaming down her face. Kate looked up at the amphitheater, at 10,000 civilizations, now including humanity, and thought of her father dying with blood on his teeth, asking if it mattered. It mattered, Dad, she whispered. It all mattered. The tribunal convened 3 days later. 50 hardliner commanders, crystalline Corinian hegemony and 3 other species, all responsible for the attack on Earth, all facing justice. The chamber was designed for this. Neutral space where crimes against galactic law were judged by representatives from civilizations uninvolved in the conflict. Kate sat in the witness section. She'd been called to testify. The lead prosecutor, a being of pure thought housed in a crystalline matrix, addressed the tribunal. These individuals stand accused of unauthorized military action against a sovereign system. 313 deaths among Earth Defense Forces. 200,000 civilian casualties. 6 cities damaged. Economic losses estimated at... We know the charges, Kate interrupted. The tribunal judges turned to her. 3 beings, 3 species, 3 different concepts of justice. Admiral Blackwood, the lead judge, said, "You're here as witness, not advocate." Then let me witness. Kate stood. 50 beings in custody. 2,000 crew members under their command, most of whom were following orders. What happens to them? Standard protocol, the prosecutor said. Commanders face trial. Subordinates are detained pending investigation. Sentences range from imprisonment to execution, Kate finished. You're going to kill them. The prosecutor's crystalline form pulsed. Their actions resulted in mass casualties. Under galactic law, they committed crimes. I'm not disputing that. Kate walked to the center of the chamber. I'm disputing the sentence. Admiral, this is unprecedented. Victims don't argue for leniency. Kate looked at the 50 commanders in custody. They stared back, defiant and afraid in equal measure. My father died preparing for this moment. Captain Elias Thorne died protecting others. 313 crew members died defending Earth. 200,000 civilians died in burning cities. She turned to face the tribunal. I could ask for execution. I could demand blood for blood. Every person who loves someone we lost would call it justice. Kate's voice dropped. But it wouldn't be justice. It would be revenge. There's a difference. She pulled up historical records. Earth's past, war crimes trials, Nuremberg, Tokyo, The Hague. My species has experience with this. After our worst wars, we tried our enemies. Some were executed, some were imprisoned. But we learned something. Execution ends the story. It doesn't teach anything. Doesn't prevent future atrocities. Doesn't honor the dead. The tribunal listened. I'm asking for a different sentence. 20 years service. The hardliners who attacked us spend 20 years rebuilding what they destroyed, working alongside humans, learning from us, teaching us, becoming part of the future instead of ghosts of the past. The prosecutor's form flickered with confusion. You want them to serve with you after they killed your people. I want them to understand why killing was wrong. I want them to spend 20 years seeing what they tried to destroy. I want their redemption to matter more than their punishment. Kate looked at the hardliner commanders again. One of them, a crystalline named Vexar, spoke. Why we attacked your world, killed your people. We deserve death. Kate met his gaze. You deserve consequences. But my daughter is 7 years old. She's going to grow up in this galaxy. I want her to see justice, not vengeance. Rehabilitation, not execution. She turned back to the tribunal. Make them serve. Make them rebuild. Make them understand what they tried to destroy. That honors our dead better than execution ever could. The tribunal judges conferred, voices too quiet to hear deliberating in concepts Kate's mind couldn't process. Finally, the lead judge spoke. The tribunal accepts Admiral Blackwood's recommendation. 50 commanders, 20 years service under Earth Defense Force, supervision, and integration into human galactic cooperation programs. Failure to complete service results in immediate imprisonment for life. Vexar stood. You're showing us mercy. After everything. No, Kate said. I'm showing you consequences. 20 years is a long time to think about what you did, to rebuild what you destroyed, to become better. She walked toward the exit, stopped. And Vexar Captain Thorne had 2 daughters, Sarah and Emma, 10 and 8 years old. You're going to help me set up a fund for children who lost parents in the attack. Your first assignment. Vexar's crystalline form dimmed, shame or understanding Kate couldn't tell. Yes, Admiral. Kate left the chamber. Justice served, not through blood, but through something harder. Making enemies face what they destroyed and rebuild it. The memorial wall stood in the Nevada desert, 400 meters long, black granite quarried from the Rockies, 1,306 names engraved in letters that caught the morning sun. The dedication ceremony drew 10,000 people, families of the fallen, military personnel, civilians who'd survived the attacks, and aliens, Drazen, Chiron, Vess, even some of the hardliners released from custody to attend. Kate stood at the podium wearing dress blues, Admiral stars catching light, medals she'd earned most of them for conflicts she wished had never happened. Behind her, the wall reflected morning sun, names visible from a kilometer away, a monument that could be seen from space. 1,306 people, Kate began. Each name represents a life, a family, a future that ended so others could continue. She gestured to the wall. Dr. David Blackwood, my father. He died 7 years ago testing alien technology. He never saw this moment. Never knew if his sacrifice mattered. Kate's voice strengthened. Captain Elias Thorne, he died 3 weeks ago protecting 200 wounded personnel aboard medical ship Emma's Hope, named after his daughter. He had 2 daughters, Sarah and Emma. They're here today. In the crowd, 2 small girls stood with their mother, Sarah 10, Emma 8, both wearing their father's medals. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Washington, Ensign Marcus Hayes, 313 names from ships that fought to protect Earth. Kate pulled up holographic displays, faces of the fallen, young and old, every ethnicity, every background. 200,000 civilians died in attacks on our cities. We couldn't save them all. We tried. It wasn't enough. She paused, let the weight settle. This wall honors everyone who gave their lives for humanity's future. Scientist and soldier, pilot and civilian. Everyone who died so we could stand here today, free and equal among the stars. Movement in the crowd. Drazen stepped forward, walked to the wall, placed a hegemony honor crystal at its base. We came as conquerors, he said, his voice carrying across the desert. We leave as students. These honored dead taught us humility. We will remember. Chiron joined him, placed his own crystal. The Galactic Council recognizes Earth's sacrifice. We honor those who fell. We pledge to ensure their deaths were not in vain. Other aliens came forward, crystalline light sculptures, Corinian memory scales, offerings from species who'd learned that humanity earned respect through sacrifice. Kate watched them honor the dead, enemies becoming mourners, warriors becoming witnesses. Arya appeared beside her, 7 years old, wearing a black dress holding a single white flower. Mommy, can I put this on the wall? Kate knelt. Of course, sweetheart. Who are you honoring? Captain Thorne and Grandpa David, and everyone. Together they walked to the wall. Arya placed her flower at the base, small hands reverent. Are they heroes? Arya asked. Kate looked at the names, 1,306 reasons why humanity had earned its place among the stars. Yes, baby, they're heroes. They died protecting others. That's what heroes do. Arya touched the wall, fingers tracing names she couldn't read yet. When I grow up, I want to be like them. Kate's heart broke and healed simultaneously. Then be brave, be kind, protect people who can't protect themselves. That's what they did. That's what heroes do. The dedication ceremony continued for hours. Names read aloud, stories shared, grief acknowledged and honored. As the sun set, Kate stood alone before the wall. The crowd had dispersed. Even Arya had gone back with Mrs. Chen. Just one woman and 1,306 names. We did it, Dad, Kate said quietly. Earth's part of the galactic community now. Equal members, just like you wanted. The wind carried her words across the desert. Captain Thorne, your daughters are safe, taken care of. They'll know what you did, why you did it. They'll grow up proud. She touched the wall, stone warm from the day's sun. Everyone, all of you, thank you for everything. Kate saluted, held it, let it mean everything it needed to mean. Then she walked away, leaving the wall to stand eternal witness, to sacrifice, to courage, to the price of peace 100 years later. The Galactic Academy graduation ceremony filled an amphitheater on Nexus Prime. 200 cadets from 40 different species. The first class trained under the new integrated command structure. Human and alien officers learning together, fighting together, building together. Kate sat in the audience wearing civilian clothes for once. No uniform. No admiral's stars. She'd retired 2 years ago, passing command to Nathaniel. Time to let the next generation lead. Elena sat beside her. Also retired, also ready to rest. Nervous? Elena asked. Terrified, Kate admitted. On stage, the cadets waited in perfect formation, human discipline meeting alien precision. The result was beautiful. The valedictorian stepped forward, 12 years old, the youngest in her class by 2 years. Dark hair like her mother. Dark eyes that had seen too much too young. Arya Blackwood cleared her throat. Honored instructors, fellow graduates, families and friends. Her voice carried confidence Kate recognized. The same tone she'd used in addressing the Galactic Council 5 years ago. We're the first class to graduate under integrated training protocols. Humans and aliens learning together. We've studied each other's tactics, languages, cultures. We've learned to move as one. Arya gestured to her fellow cadets. My instructor is Corinian. My tactical partner is Hegemony. My best friend is from the Peaceful Gardens Collective. 5 years ago, our species were enemies. Today, we're family. Kate felt tears building. My mother is Admiral Catherine Blackwood. She commanded Earth Defense Force during first contact. She taught me 2 things. Arya looked directly at Kate in the audience. First, strength without mercy is tyranny. Power without restraint is evil. True strength means protecting the weak, not dominating them. She turned back to the assembly. Second, the best weapon is the one you never use. The greatest victory is the one that doesn't require fighting. Arya pulled up a holographic display. The memorial wall, 1,306 names. These people died so we could stand here today. They died protecting others, showing restraint, choosing mercy over vengeance. Her voice strengthened. We honor them by being like them, by building instead of destroying, by cooperating instead of conquering, by proving that different species can become one crew, one team, one family. The cadets behind her stood at attention. Human and alien together. We're the first generation to grow up in a united galaxy. We won't waste it. We'll protect it, improve it, pass it on better than we found it. Arya saluted. The cadets mirrored her. For those who came before, for those who come after. For the future, we're building together. The amphitheater erupted in applause. Kate stood clapping until her hands hurt. Arya descended from the stage, walked through the crowd, found her mother. Did I do good, Mom? Kate pulled her into a hug. You did perfect, sweetheart. Grandpa David would be so proud. Captain Thorne would be proud. Everyone would be proud. Arya pulled back. Mom, you're crying. Happy tears, baby, happy tears. Drazen approached, now retired himself. He'd spent the last 5 years teaching at the academy. Cadet Blackwood gave an exceptional speech, he said. Commander Blackwood now, Arya corrected, showing her new rank insignia. Junior grade, but still. My apologies, Commander. Drazen's four eyes showed amusement. Your mother made quite an impression 5 years ago. You're following well. Arya grinned. I had a good teacher. Later after the ceremony, Kate and Arya stood on the observation deck. Earth visible in the distance, blue and beautiful and home. Mom, Arya said quietly, do you ever regret it? The fighting, the people who died? Kate thought of her father, of Elias, of 1,306 names on a wall in the desert. Every day, she said honestly. But I don't regret what we achieved. Peace, equality, a future where you can grow up working alongside aliens instead of fighting them. Arya nodded. I'm assigned to the UESS Defiance, your old flagship. Kate's heart jumped. That's dangerous duty. I know, but someone has to protect the galaxy. Arya smiled. Might as well be someone who learned from the best. An alarm chimed, not urgent, informational. Kate pulled up the display. Deep space sensors, unknown contacts at the galaxy's edge. Not galactic design, something new, something massive. What is it? Arya asked. Kate studied the readings, ships using technology beyond anything known. Energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Unknown contacts, she said. First detection. They're not from any civilization we know. Arya's hand moved to her sidearm instinctively. Combat reflexes already trained. Should we be worried? Kate thought of 5 years of peace, of integration that had worked better than anyone expected, of the fleet that now included human and alien ships working together, of 137 years of preparation that had taught humanity one lesson above all others. Never assume you are ready for everything. Maybe, Kate said, but we're not alone anymore. If something's coming, we face it together. She pulled up the communication system. Fleet-wide alert, human and alien ships across the galaxy receiving the same message. Unknown contacts detected. All vessels condition yellow. Monitor and report. Do not engage unless threatened. Responses came in, unified, coordinated. 12 species moving as one. Arya watched the tactical displays. Mom, are we going to be okay? Kate put her arm around her daughter. 12 years old, commander in the unified fleet, growing up in a galaxy that included thousands of species and might have room for a few more. We've prepared for this, Kate said. For 137 years, we learned to prepare for the unexpected. We're good at it. She looked at Earth, small and distant and protected by the largest cooperative fleet in galactic history. Besides, we're not the species that hides anymore. We're the ones who answer. Arya smiled, touched the medal on her uniform, a posthumous award from Captain Thorne that his daughters had given her at the memorial wall dedication. Then let's answer, she said. Kate looked at her daughter, at the next generation of humanity. Brave, confident, ready to face whatever came. The galaxy had changed in 5 years. Enemies had become allies. Suspicion had become cooperation. Fear had become hope. And humanity, silent for 137 years, had finally found its voice. Not through conquest, through restraint, not through dominance, through mercy, not through destruction, through the choice to protect instead of punish. The unknown ships continued their approach. Days away, maybe weeks. Time enough to prepare. Time enough to decide. Time enough to prove one more time that humanity's greatest strength wasn't weapons or technology. It was the choice of what not to do with them. Kate stood with her daughter watching the stars, ready for whatever came next. The silence had ended 5 years ago. But the answer was just beginning. 10 years after first contact, the memorial wall in the Nevada desert stood eternal. 1,306 names weathered but readable. Flowers placed daily by people who never knew the fallen, but honored them anyway. A new addition had been built beside it, a garden. Trees planted by families of the lost, benches where children played, a place of life beside a monument to death. Sarah and Emma Thorne, now 20 and 18, visited on the anniversary of their father's death. They brought their younger siblings, adopted children from 6 different species. A family built from loss, celebrating life. Commander Arya Blackwood, now 17 and commanding her own scout vessel, returned home between missions. She'd made captain at 16, youngest in fleet history. Her crew was 70% alien. They followed her because she'd earned it. Admiral Nathaniel Cross stood before the wall during memorial ceremonies, reading names he'd memorized, honoring friends, promising to be worthy of their sacrifice. Dr. Elena Volkov taught at the academy, training the next generation of intelligence officers. Human and alien students learning together. Understanding that knowledge was protection, not power. Fleet Commander Drazen, fully retired, lived on Earth. He'd married a human woman, had children who were the first of their kind. He taught history at universities, explaining how enemies became family. And Kate Blackwood, 60 years old now, sat in the garden beside the wall, watching children play, alien and human together. Growing up in a galaxy where cooperation was normal, where unity was expected, where different species working together wasn't remarkable, it was just life. She touched the locket at her throat. Inside, a new photo, Arya in captain's uniform, proud, strong, ready. "We did it, Dad," Kate whispered to the wind. "We did everything you hoped, more than you hoped." The future her father died for, the peace Captain Thorne sacrificed for. The galaxy 1,306 people gave their lives to build. It was real. It was lasting. It was worth everything. Kate stood, walked to the wall one last time, touched her father's name, touched Elias's name, touched all the names she could reach. "Thank you," she said simply, "for everything." Then she walked into the garden where children of a dozen species played together under Earth's sun. The silence had ended. The answer had been given. And the future they'd built together was just beginning.